Hi there, that's right, my name's Nick Dutch, and I work every single day as a professional tarot reader. It's my job. And today I'm going to tell you how you yourself can become a tarot reader or a diviner. Psi phenomenon or psychic phenomena is something which science is only just becoming ready to understand. There are only a few scientists in the world who are willing to accept the possibility of the existence of psi phenomena. So what I'm not going to do today is to turn around to you and tell you that you're going to be able to work out the precise national lottery or state lottery numbers which are going to come up, or which horse is going to win the Grand National. What I'm going to do is just give you a basic outline of how divination seems to work and how you yourself can start to develop the skills of basically a good reader or a good psychic. Let's start from the top. Is it all in the cards? Well, the bottom line is no. Tarot cards themselves are from a game. They are basically playing pieces in a very basic game that's a couple of hundred years old, but within the past few centuries a number of religious organizations have looked closely at the cards themselves and at the symbols and at the trump cards, and they've drawn a bit of a parallel between their religious ideas as well as the symbolism which appears in the tarot. As a result of that, they've added their own symbolism, and there are now thousands of different tarot packs on the market. Each one is from a different point of view and a different perspective. The cards themselves and the symbols within them represent something about the universe or the world around us. That much we can say, but precisely what that is very hard to pinpoint precisely, because each and every single card and each and every single pack has been designed with different ideas in mind. The cards themselves seem to represent changes or maybe stages in a person's life. A good thing to do is to find yourself a tarot pack that you feel comfortable with and start learning about the cards and learning about the symbols. Build up your own understanding as to what the cards might mean. Not necessarily precisely, there's no competition here. Just slowly and steadily, with the passage of time, days, months, weeks, years, try and pick up a better understanding as to what these things could possibly mean. Once you've done that, you may actually be ready to start doing some very basic readings and take it from there. One of the things that I've discovered as being a tarot reader is that it's more about storytelling. Initially, your inquirer asks you a question and you design a spread based upon the question. The spread itself tells its own story, and yes, based upon your knowledge of the signs, the cards, you can tell a story based upon what you see there. But with the passage of time, you start to realize that the story itself is developing its own storyline, basically. And as a result of that, it appears at times that it is your consciousness which is being adjusted or maybe affected by a factor which is either within you and very sensitive to the inquirer, or maybe a force outside of yourself. This force, many people who call themselves psychics might call spirit. And some people feel that this force is guided by angels or spirit guides or indeed God himself. Whether this is really and truly coming purely from the creator and master of the universe, that's open to speculation. But I can say that there is some kind of creative, intuitive something which seems to develop with the passage of time. My feeling or my impression is that if you're someone who performs a lot of things such as meditation or prayer or other forms of religious exercises, you're probably doing something to your mind which has the capacity to provide a suspension of disbelief maybe, or to make yourself more willing to be open and receptive to something outside of yourself, or the possibility of the existence of something outside of yourself. And maybe, just maybe, that's a component in the whole equation. Whether it is or not is hard to say. Every form of divination still uses the same basic function, namely the function of human consciousness and the various creative processes which occur therein. But they all do it in a different way, as I've said with tarot, and also possibly with other forms of sortilege-driven divination, such as rune stones, the mahjong tiles, and all the rest of them. It's not just a question of which cards turn up, but the way in which the story itself starts seeming to tell itself. Basically experiment, do a few readings for yourself, do a few readings for your family, your friends, and see how it goes. And with the passage of time, instead of trying to concentrate intensely upon the cards or trying to concentrate intensely upon the inquirer, you can start to develop a more peaceful, tranquil and receptive state of mind. And in that state of mind, that's when the story itself seems to take control. Now, I've been doing this as a professional reader for many years, and in my earlier days, when I was starting out and being rather anxious on the phone, I discovered that a lot of other people who are also professional readers would start coming to me. I got one particular call, and the inquirer said, "You will be very famous one day." And I thought, yeah, right. But then she says, "Hang on a moment. Why is it that you doubt your power?" Even though I do this for a job, when something spooky happens, I do still get spooked. And when that happened, I realized that I was not being open. I was not allowing the story to tell itself. I was not passing control onto this other, apparently external force. And when I started doing that and actually being more open and receptive in that manner, I found that the story started telling itself with greater ease. I found that I would actually get visual impressions appear into my imagination when I'm doing a reading, and sometimes even hearing a little voice, or seemingly hearing a little voice. Not necessarily using words, but like the meanings of those words coming into my mind. And yes, it did appear that this was coming from outside. So an adjustment of your perceptions does seem to be important in the development of whatever this thing is called psychic power or psychic ability. And how does that happen? Well, firstly, it doesn't happen overnight. It does seem to happen more with people who seem to do more in the way of meditative or religious exercises. And so maybe that's another starting point for you. Do something creative and spiritual and see how that helps you. But also, build up an understanding of the symbols within either tarot or runes or whatever form of divination you wish to use. Obviously, when there's other forms of divination being employed, such as the Ouija board or the pendulum, that seems to rely more upon the impressions you get in your mind, stimulating the ideomotor response in your fingers, so that an apparent result can occur, and you can then learn to use that apparent result creatively as part of your divination process. There are other forms of divination too, such as those which require something which appears to be a strain on the optic nerve, so to speak, like when you're gazing into a dark mirror and you're seeing your own reflection there. And with the help of prayer and meditation, being open to this apparent external force and maybe asking questions, certain visual phenomena seem to occur which appear to manifest themselves in the dark mirror or crystal ball itself. But it still seems to be the same phenomenon of human consciousness, human creativity, and that receptive ability that we have, which helps to bring about the particular sensations that the psyche gets. My recommendation to you would be to experiment and to explore. I can't turn around to you and tell you that you can get 110% reliable results each and every single time. And for me to do that, if I was to do that, I would either be lying or being incredibly dishonest, and I don't feel that it would be right for me to say that to you. But what I can say is that under strange circumstances, strange things seem to occur. And it must be quite important, as these things happen to us as humans, to try and understand these phenomena, because they're as much a part of our experience as humans as living, breathing, eating and sleeping. There's so much more we've got to learn about the natural world around us and the natural world which is part of us. And maybe these tools, these physical tools, are just another way, another step to uncovering the mysteries of what it means to be a human being. My name's Nick Dutch. Enjoy the journey.